Caleb B's question is up next. He said, should the 25% savings goal be strictly retirement? Can cash savings and debt reduction be included in that, depending on what step of the FOO you are on? Thought that this was interesting.
Well, I think Caleb, perhaps you're misunderstanding the FOO a little bit. And this is what I mean by that. Our goal is for you to save 25% of your gross income. Well, the way that you do that is by working through the financial order of operations. Brian, we hold the thing up. For those of you who don't know, the financial order of operations, it's 9 tried and true steps of what to do with your next dollar. Well, if you happen to be on step 3 and you have high interest credit card debt, I'm going to argue that you got to knock out that high interest credit card debt. So 100% of the free cash flow that you have should be knocking out that high interest debt. Well, then you go on to step 4, emergency reserves, and you begin building that up. And then you go to step 5 and then to step 6. And so 25% is actually something in terms of like investing and building for the future that happens along the path of the financial order of operations, not something that you start at the beginning and then start the financial order of operations.
Yeah, it is one of those things though, like employer match. If you got a 50%, 50 cents on the dollar for dollar, which is 100% rate of return, that's why you are going to probably do your employer match. So if they offer you like 6%, do 6%. That 6% plus your employer 6%, that 12% will count towards the 25%, assuming your household income's below $200,000. But then when you get to high interest debt, because you're knocking out credit cards or student loans, whatever your or nowadays when I hear about 15% car loans could even be high interest for debt. That part is not going to count towards the 25% because it's really exactly what Bo said. It's working through the financial order of operations, the FOO. It's when you get back to step 5 that now you can pick up that 12% that you started with employer match and get it into your Roth IRA, health savings account if you're using that for saving for the future, and then of course going back to that employer 401k when you get to step 6.
Love it.
Fantastic. Caleb B., thank you for your question. It's Tumblr Day, so if you would like a Tumblr, just email Matt, M-A-T-T, @moneyguy.com.
I'm going to throw one other side on there, only because I saw it in the question. He asked about debt reduction. Can debt reduction count towards my savings?
Oh, yeah.
I see people do this all the time, and they're like, hey, I'm paying off my mortgage, and I know how much my principal is being paid off, and so you don't get to count that. We want that 25% to be money that you are saving and adding to your army of dollar bills, not money once you've got into the saving standpoint that's just helping you dig out of a hole, and debt being the hole. I do not think that you can count saving and retiring debt, specifically like mortgage debt, as part of your 25%.
I completely agree, because I think what this prioritizes is there's get wealthy behaviors and there's stay wealthy behaviors. And I've seen people who, because there's a mental trap you can fall into, is that you pay off the high interest debt, the credit card, you pay off, if they had a high student loan or a high car loan, you're like, this feels so good paying off this debt. And then people jump into that mortgage when they're under 45 years of age, and that wealth multiplier is at its peak time and earning potential. Yeah, that's why I love that we do not. I know it's tempting, but that is not mutant math. That is definitely not mutant math. That is debt crusader math, and that's more of stay wealthy before you've even gotten to get wealthy. And that's not always, it doesn't mean that people who are doing stay wealthy early don't get wealtly, but it just is not optimized for sure.
Love it.
That's a good distinction. Like, it just means you're not at 25.
Again.
What? I will give the Tumblr again. I don't even remember what I was saying. You know what?
You said
get
that
your
was a
Tumblr.
good distinction. You started saying that was a good distinction.
It just means like if you're paying off debt with that amount, you're just not at 25% yet. Like, I think that's a good mindset to have. Like, it means you still are working towards that goal.